Greetings and welcome to Chant Day. I wanted you all to see the outside. It's a beautiful day. Happy Sunday, everyone, on this April 28th. Happy, blessed birthday to everyone out there who's having a birthday today. Especially shout out to Shalonda Carter. Happy, blessed birthday to you, babe. Bless. This this psalm today is 31. And yeah, I'm just waking up. Look at my face. Okay. So Psalm 31 today is, let me pull it up, is translated as I make a commitment to righteousness. I make a commitment to kindness. So this psalm is, I'm looking at it as making a pledge, or like a promise or a vow to do good, to be respectful, and to be kind and joyful. um so this is to the choir master. It is a psalm of David, and it is Psalm 31, as I said here. It's about 24 verses. So, Psalm 31. And it's, let's see, how can I begin? I want to make sure everybody's getting to see the outside here. Yeah. So, back up this way. Oh, it's so nice out. Oh, you hear the birds? Yeah, my bird friends. Okay. Let's he's chanting already. Mm-hmm. Yes. Blessed. Yes, you hear the birdie? Oh, you hear a birdie? Yes, Bubby, you hear the birds. Oh, what is this you have on your... Oh my goodness, you have to go to the doctor. I'm just listening to the birds. It's so sounds so beautiful. It's like they're talking to each other. Yes, yes, you hear the birds, Bubby. Okay, the birds are taking over the psalm today. Yes, they're taking over the psalm. We're getting ready to chant the psalm. Okay. So this Psalm 31, it starts with verse 1. And it begins with the commitment. As the title of the psalm is translated, into the Most High's hand, I make that commitment. And commitment, in that commitment, it is a commitment to the Most High. And Psalm 1 is Psalm 31, rather, verse 1 starts off that taking safety in the Most High. That's the where I take safety. And in that relationship, I will never be put to shame. And in the Most High's righteousness, I will be delivered. So in verse 1, and this is Psalm 31, verse 1, and it speaks of that is who I take safety in, and I will not be put to shame, because I have done that in the Most High's righteousness. I am delivered. So making that plea, making that plea and that statement gives you the result of living righteously with integrity, honesty, kindness, humbleness, humility, compassion, mercy. All of that is building towards not ever being put to shame. So that in itself speaks volumes in terms of being accountable to your fellow human beings and doing to others as you would want done to you. So verse 1 kicks it off in that way. And then we have verse 2, where the Most High is listening and is going to rescue very speedily. And the reason is given in verse 2 is because of that rock of safety for I. And that rock that's built this strong fortress to actually save I. And I'm thankful that has spread to my loved ones, that they're safe and they're taken care of. And especially what's going on in the world today, we have a battle happening, and it's the earth is reacting to this battle. So we're gonna have earthquakes in diverse places, we're gonna have tornadoes, we're gonna have situations that is going to challenge our faith, but we have to know that we are making a commitment to righteousness. So whenever something opposite of that comes our way, and it's gonna come, because we got to keep our righteousness sharp. So we're gonna be faced with situations that may not be to sharpen our own righteousness and our own ability to handle nefarious situations or situations that are not positive. So, because we're being on the positive side, and we have to maintain that, because that is how we're going to balance ourselves. So, this rock that's mentioned in here in verse 2, and this fortress that's mentioned, it's an exclamation mark behind it, and it's an exclamation mark behind, speedily, that this is going to happen. It's going to happen very quickly. This deliverance, you're going to be delivered. It's going to happen like overnight happen. Like, you're going to be like, what? So in verse 3, it keeps on with this statement of the Most High being a rock and a fortress, and that the Most High's name sake is led and guided I and I. So it's interesting how it's mentioned as this rock. And we know that this rock is a stone that the builder refused. And that has a name. There's that namesake, that leads I and I. And for me, that name is righteousness. That name is love. Ultimately, that root, that like Genesis or that foundation is love. And that is that beginning. And with that comes mercy, kindness, righteousness, love, and compassion, and all of the gifts and knowledge to seek after what is good. And looking outside and seeing, this railroad track that's just been put through this little area, and listening to the birds, and listening to, the sounds of man and the sounds of nature, it gives a sense of leading and guiding. So we have verse 4 really echoing verse verse 3 really echoing verse 2, talking about this rock that is a fortress, and a fortress is a safe space. And it, the Most High's namesake, that namesake of righteousness, compassion, mercy, that leads, and guides. So you lead with love. You lead with righteousness. You lead with kindness. You lead with mercy. You lead with honor and integrity. You lead with truth. You lead, and that oftentimes is expressed in feelings. And some people may get that, your feelings, or they may not. They may, hurt your feelings. They may speak truth, and your feelings may be hurt. However, it's always led with love. You're guided by love to listen, to respond. And being led with love and guided with love, that's what you are going to receive in return, because you're walking in that light, goodness, and mercy. So we look at now verse 4. And verse 4 is really talking about, just as what I already said, you're going to have stuff out there that's negative, right? That's going to come at you to keep you sharp, keep that righteousness sharp, so you learn new skills, how to lead with righteousness, lead with love, be guided by these attributes to deal with what verse 4 is going to talk about. That the Most High take I and I out of the net that ones have hidden for I and I. And for I and I, the Most High is I and I safety. So there is nets that are hidden. However, there is a safety net. That is the Most High. And verse 5, into the Most High's hand, I and I commit I and I righteousness. It doesn't, when it, some parts of the scripture talk about right hand, but this one says into the Most High's hand. It doesn't say right or left hand. And that's interesting, because we mentioned that in one of the Psalms yesterday or the day before. And I talked about, it's not about the right hand, because children were beaten when they were writing with their left hand because of this words in the scripture about the Most High's, you're going, right hand. Jesus sits at the hand of the Father. So that is where you should be writing. Your right hand should be dominant, in other words. And that's not what that's about. It's about righteousness. You're sitting at the righteousness of the Father. That's the goodness, the mercy, the love, the compassion, all of that you're sitting upon next to. So, man has genderized and racialized everything as a way and as a tool of division. So, and it's that outward appearance that is looked at. So verse 4 kind of kicks it off in terms of you're going to be faced with things that's not good. You're going to have some traps hidden. So that's why this being led by righteousness and guided by is important, because of these traps that are hidden. And in verse 5, you're making that commitment to righteousness, because you're not going to pick up and try to do evil to folks, and blame folks for a trap that was planted there that they may have nothing to do with. It's maybe a systematic thing. So, and it's not an individual thing. It's not personal. People work, for businesses and governments and organizations that may be at odds with what consumers believe or what they feel. But we have to maintain we have to maintain order, and that's why there are laws. There are laws for the lawless. And there is going to be lawlessness out there. So we have to be committed to our righteousness so that we can, thwart those and see those traps. Because verse 5 ends with the Most High have redeemed I and I, because the Most High is a faithful Savior, a faithful Lord God, a faithful righteousness. If you don't want to use labels in that way. And for good reason, because these labels have been used to persecute, to kill in the name of this and that, to do, not good stuff. So we want to be very mindful of our words and purify them in the fire 7 times so that we can have that communication, and we can commune with the Most High in a pure way, and not use words that are unknowingly evoking evil in our lives. And when it comes upon us, we want to know why this is happening, because of the words we're speaking, because of the things we're doing. And you're watching or doing things that are not bringing forth love and kindness and mercy. That's not going to be around you. So I want that around me. I want love, kindness, mercy around me. So I want to perpetuate that. In verse 6 now, it takes a turn. It takes a turn. And I have a note here, that's why I kind of paused, but it takes a turn in verse 6. And if you look at my channel, you'll see that I have read this, translated this particular psalm before. So I wonder if the geese family are gonna come back around. They're little goslings. So it takes a turn, and it uses the word hate. I don't use that word. So David in this psalm in verse 6 is not really liking folks that pay regard to worthless idols. He's not liking that. And I don't believe that the Most High does either. So I don't want to use the word believe, but I know the Most High doesn't love that either. Because when they were building an idol, and I will not ever forget that scene in the movie Moses, where they're building this idol and he comes down and he was bringing them the commandments. He saw them doing all this, building this idol, and he threw the commandments down, and that's how they broke and all this stuff. However, the point is, good is going to be good and bad is going to be bad. And no matter how you do good for someone, or just as the Most High did for those ones, they weren't satisfied. They wanted more. They questioned the Most High, and it became this confusion. And these are folks who actually saw the works of the Most High in front of their eyes with the parting of the seas. You can believe, you can know that or not. You weren't there to see it. It's a story that's been told for centuries. And it's a story that's been told for centuries because it is a supernatural, you know, that the power of creation is in control by a supreme almighty that created the universe, that created it, so knows what to do with it. Okay, that one has the manual of creation. So in verse 6, it turns, the Most High um is the one that I trust. And rejoicing and being glad is what verse 7, this is Psalm 31, what verse 7 speaks about. So being happy in the steadfast love of the Most High. And even when things are hard, you're still trusting in the Most High, right? Because you're not going to be put to shame. So the psalm keeps on with, there's a reason that you're going to be glad and happy. And that reason is because you know that the Most High have seen your affliction and known your distress in your life, and that you've not been delivered into the hands of the enemy. You are, you've gotten up, you're okay. You've not been delivered into the hand of the enemy. Your feet have been set in a broad place where you could go. And that's why I wanted to, open the window and, do the psalm like this, because I'm a testimony of that, to be, that my feet are set in a broad place. Be gracious to I, for I in distress. Okay, so now it shifts now again. It shifts now again, verse 9, to talk about this distress. Um, um, I'm good. I got. Okay, let's get. So this shift going into distress, um, it doesn't come out of nowhere because it really, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It is the Psalm 31 that you're making a commitment to righteousness because you know things are happening that's not good, and you want to commit to goodness. So verse 9 is really about the sense of I am in, trouble here. My eye is wasted from grief, my life and my goodie also. And then verse 10, it keeps on with, for I and I life is spent with sorrow. You're being sad and depressed all the time, and in your years with sighing, like everything is, it's, always this stress. No, your strength is failing because of your own inequities, your own doing, and your bones are wasting away. That's how I felt the other day. My knees were hurt, trying to get out of the shuttle bus when I got to campus, and it was hard getting out of the shuttle bus. So people on their motorbikes today. I. So verse 9 and 10 shifts. And then verse 11, it's given reasons now why this is happening. Because of all thine adversaries, I have become a reproach, especially to thine neighbors, and an object of dread to thine acquaintances. Those that see thine in the street flee from thine. So this is, all of this is given, this is the reason, because of these adversaries, and it's giving some detail of that. And verse 12 and 13 goes into, and I've read this psalm already, you can go to my channel and look Psalm 31. But verse 12 is very detailed, and verse 13 is there, the psalmist David is comparing himself and how he feels to someone who is gone and died and forgotten, and comparing himself to a broken vessel. Verse 13 is powerful because the whispering of people talking about him is heard, and he can hear people talking about him, wanting to take his life, scheming together to do that. So then we shift now to verse 14, where it's a trust in the Most High, and a speaking out in words that the Most High is the one. That's the one that is the one I serve. And verse 15 is giving that one the authority over your life, and the times that you have is in the hands of this Almighty. And this Almighty is going to rescue you, and rescue you from the hand of the enemies and from, persecutors. And I look at this deeply in terms of financially, and, all of the ways that persecution can happen. And the enemy can have you, held hostage in a debt. So in verse 16, it's acknowledging that it's going to be okay because the Most High's face is going to shine on I and I. Bottom line, it's going to shine on I and I. And I will be saved because of this steadfast love. And it's an exclamation point. This is verse 16, Psalm 31, verse 16. Then it goes to verse 17, and acknowledging that the Most High is not going to let I and I be put to shame. And this is echoed in the beginning of the psalm in verse 1. So verse 1 and verse 17 are exactly alike. It's being repeated again because I call on the Most High. So I don't call on anything else, any idols. I don't make a statue of something and I'm praying to that statue and calling on this statue to help me. I'm not doing that. I'm calling on the Most High, that this omnipotent, entity of righteousness and love that brings, kindness and compassion and a sense of joy, and choosing joy over anger or sadness or depression. That's wiped out because you're serving, one that is omnipotent, and that is that creator of this universe, and it is going to show in the creation of this earth. And there's a battle happening, I mentioned earlier. So we look at this verse 17, that the Most High is not going to allow I and I to be put to shame because I call on that is truth and goodness and mercy. And the wicked is going to be put to shame. Okay, and the wicked is going to go silently into, Sheol. And that's powerful in that silently meaning without any sound, just gone. And verse 18 is lying lips are going to be mute. They're not going to speak. The lying lips are going to be mute because the lying lips are speaking insolently against the righteous in pride and contempt. So verse 18 is powerful because the righteous is being attacked with lying lips. Oh, you hear the... And this is being done in pride and contempt. So I'm not going to get into that because that speaks for itself. Verse 19 now looks at the Most High. Now it shifts. It's like the Most High is abundant in goodness because it's stored up. This goodness is stored up for those that fear the Most High. So when you do good, that is stored up. And that work for those that take safety in the Most High, in the sight of the children of mankind. So children are going to see this. You're come here. Children are you're in the sight of children, in other words. So in verse 20, in the cover of the Most High's presence, hide such ones that fear the Most High. hide them from the plots of humans. Okay, you're going to store these ones that fear the Most High in a shelter from the strife of people's tongues and people talking foolishness, from the strife of tongues. Okay, and verse 21, these four final verses is shouting out to the Most High. Blessed be the Most High, for the Most High has wondrously shown steadfast love to I and I, when I and I was in a besieged place. Verse 22, I and I had said in I and I alarm, I'm cut off from the Most High sight. Like, I'm not being seen. What? You're not listening? However, the Most High heard the voice of I and I pleas for mercy, when I and I cried to the Most High for strength. So love the Most High, all I and I saints. That's who is going to really love the Most High. Those who are, saints in the land, who are selfless, who are giving, generous, and kind, and merciful, and compassionate. And that is the love of righteousness. And that perseverance is for the faithful. The Most High preserves the faithful. However, abundantly will repay the one that acts in pride. That's why having, you're prideful, that's not good to have, to be. That's why I don't say I'm proud of you, I'm blessed of you. I'm blessed of your accomplishments. So we look at the ending of this Psalm 31, verse 24, in a commanding, be strong and let your heart, right? Your heart take courage. And this is for all that wait for the Most High. Because you're waiting for something you don't see. You're waiting for something you can't touch. You can't, because it's not about idols. People worship cars. That's their idol. They worship, a house and all these things. I've always spoken that I would rather be in a little tiny little shack up on a hill and be good. Get up and put my 3-stone fire on so I can do my hot lemongrass tea, and go in my yard and pick and plant, pick and plant, pick and plant, pick and plant, or plant and pick, and prepare my beans on that same fire. So when I'm out picking and planting, I return the beans are nicely, cooked on an open fire. So everyone is not that way. And having yourself surrounded by nothing dead is important. Surrounding yourself with life, with fuel for the body that is life. So this ends the psalm for today. Be strong and let your heart take courage, all you who wait for the Most High. let your heart take courage. So I have to go walk my dog, but I wanted to I wanted to share this the word today that is inner love, and translate John 20:26. It's not peace be with you, it's love be with you. Love and righteousness be with you. Peace is the diploma you get in the graveyard. And this word has been translated from love to peace. It has always been love, kindness, righteousness, mercy, compassion be with you. And all that has been bottled up into one word, peace. And we don't want peace. We want the fullness. We don't want peace of anything, right? We want the fullness of something. And that's what's been happening is people have been giving piecemeal, pieces here, piece there, piece there. And you're not giving it to the entire, people. You're giving it to a few people here and there. So that's why there's going to be jealousy and envy, because one person said, how come they got that and we don't, what's happening? So we don't want peace. We want love. We want you to love us. We want you to love I and I, not us. Love I and I unconditionally as equals. That's why we have equity. We have diversity, and in that diversity, we have to have equity. And in that equity, we have to have an inclusiveness. Inclusiveness meaning that we have to be able to listen to the diversity around us and not shuffle people off as a myth, or what they're speaking of as a myth, that this is real to that person. So I want to read the word inner love. I call upon the infinite love of the Most High's righteousness within. So I'm going to translate the word peace in this word today. I find love in the beauty around I and I. A clear day, flowers swaying in the breeze, a gently flowing stream, all reveal the presence of righteousness and reflect I and I inner nature. Longing love, for all time love resides within I and I wise mind and I and I heart. When that love is temporarily disturbed, when I and I feelings are out of sorts about I and I life, or the situation of a dear one, I and I draw upon I and I strength and stability of turning away from outer circumstances and going within. Yeah. I quiet the chatter of I and I mind, perhaps thinking of one of I and I loving places, imagining the breeze caressing I and I face, and listening to the water or the trickling stream. In a quiet state, I and I make commune communication with I and I source and begin to feel a settling calmness. I and I think about and I am aware about I and I life from a higher perspective and remain centered and serene no matter what is happening in I and I life or in the world or on the earth. Love be with all of you as I end the psalm today with the word inner love. Loving yourself to the point where you don't feel sad about being alone. Or I look at it as being all one with the Most High. Being all one with the Most High. So, Selah and Selah again as I end the psalm. I have to go take my dog outside so he can go. And I want to, this is my chanting bowl. And let's see if I can make, yes. Perfect. Thank you for joining Chant a Psalm a Day. I am so pleased that you could join us, join I and I rather, as we looked at the word today, inner love, and the psalm today, 31, that is making a commitment to righteousness. You're making that commitment to righteousness because there's so much wrongness as expressed in this Psalm 31 today out there. You want to keep looking up and seeking for what's above. Have a blessed day, everyone.